This is Telltale's The Walking Dead, the point-and-click story-based game where my actions have real-world consequences.
She's got a gun and she's useful. So we're gonna save Doug.
Having never played this game before, I thought I'd give it a go and see what all the bloody fuss is about. So let's check out episode 1, A New Day.
And if you enjoyed this and want to see an episode 2, let me know with a cheeky like rating.
We start as all good stories do, with our protagonist in handcuffs, but these aren't the furry kind. You see, our boy Lee is a bit of a bad boy, but as of yet, we don't know what he's done.
Well, I reckon you didn't do it then.
Oh yeah, how would you know that then, bud?
The copper then chats mad shit about people always pleading their innocence.
Then the fucker hits an elderly gentleman who was just trying to cross the dual carriageway. This is without a doubt the worst Uber driver I've ever had. 1 star for you, you blind prick.
I must have hit my head or something because I wake up in the back of the car a little fuzzy.
But let's be honest, I've just won the bloody jackpot. Gotta remember, where there's a blame, there's a claim. And I'm gonna bloody make sure that my prison commissary is full of Haribo. I boot the window out, then clamber out of the vehicle. In that process, I unfortunately cut my leg, but that's alright, I should now be able to upgrade those Haribo to Tanktastics. My driver is having a cheeky little nap, so I limp over there to wake the lazy prick up. Nah, I'm just fucking with you, I'm on the way to prison. I'm getting these handcuffs off and running to bloody Mexico. Well, I would be at least if Lee wasn't such a clumsy sod. Oh, right by his face, is it? Yeah, we're just gonna drop keys right by his face. Well, I wonder what's gonna happen here. Get the axe ready, bud. You're gonna have to chop off a finger, I think. Nah, obviously not. Our boy Lee is one speedy boy. I take off the handcuffs, then the driver lunges at me. Oh, Jesus Christ! I then find myself backed up against the wrecked cop car, and conveniently right next to a shotty. But you'll never guess what, Butterfingers Lee strikes again. Just a dickhead, son. Get it in! Come on! I've said that before, right? Let's not go there. Unlike after 8 cans of Stella, I do get it in and successfully remove the face of this police officer. Probably not gonna look great to the parole board. Lee then notices a small child watching and he decides to follow her. I didn't realise he was mates with Prince Andrew. We climb a fence in chase of the child, then let ourselves into their house. Not gonna lie, but Lee might be the bravest man in video gaming. Not only has he let himself into a stranger's house in America, the home of shoot first and maybe ask a question if I can be asked later, he's done so during the zombie uprising. It's like the bloke is asking to be shot. He has a nose about the house and slips in somebody's blood. Just another potential lawsuit to file. I'm sorry, but you can't be leaving an unattended blood spill and not have a sign up. It's like these people have never seen a health and safety video. He takes a sip of God's nectar. Nah, I'm just kidding. There was no Stella in the fridge. Lee then listens to their answer phone messages and it turns out the house owners have left the little girl with a babysitter. Some proper questionable parenting if you ask me. Don't get me wrong, I'm not a father, and frankly I couldn't be trusted to look after a cactus. I just don't think it's very responsible to call a babysitter when the dead are reanimating. I find a radio in a cupboard and the little girl from earlier tries talking to me. No sense of stranger danger that one, her nickname should be Epstein's wet dream. She tells me she's hiding in a treehouse, just reinforcing her new nickname. Then I get jump scared by her zombified babysitter. Oh, Jesus Christ! I beat the bitch off with no happy ending, but unfortunately slip once again on the wet blood. Oh, bloody hell, Lee. Slipped on more blood. Survival of the fittest, son. Do you reckon we could have a whip around and get this man a slippery when wet sign? No matter what he does, this walker won't leave Lee alone. This must be what it's like to be a woman that's just turned 18. Thankfully, the little girl has come down from her treehouse and has gifted me with a hammer. And I use it to turn her babysitter into a fucking pinata. Yeah, I think it's dead. I think it's dead. We're good. The kid's like, did you kill it? And I'm like, fucking right, I did. The game's then like, just to let you know, Clementine's gonna remember that. And well, duh, this is probably a pretty dramatic part of her childhood. Lee decides it's probably best to get out of here and Clementine comes along too. They notice 2 guys out front trying to move a car, and after about 2.5 seconds of chat decide it's probably best if we stick together. And it's kind of like, Jesus Christ, Lee, you're supposed to be acting parent right now. It's like the bloke has never heard the phrase stranger danger before. Thankfully the 2 strangers don't skin and eat us alive. In fact, one of their fathers is a farmer, and in fact the farm could be the perfect place to wait out the apocalypse, assuming you ignore all of the lack of walls, that is. We then get introduced to the farmer. It's some old bloke named Hershel. As of yet, I'm not sure if it's the same Hershel Green from the TV show. I'm gonna wait until his unlimited ammo shotgun makes an appearance before I confirm or deny that rumour. Hershel then just flat out accuses Lee of nonsense. Well, alright, maybe not flat out, but I'm definitely reading between the lines here. He then agrees to have a look at my leg, then tells us we can sleep in the barn. That's gonna do bloody wonders for my leg injury. I'm sure I won't get an infection sleeping in hay and horse shit. And considering Hershel is just accuse me of being a wrong 'un, he's more than happy for me to sleep in close proximity and complete isolation with the little girl. Sounds a bit sus to me, but whatever, let's get some sleep. We wake up the next morning with some handlebar moustache knobbed standing over me, and surprisingly he hasn't got his cock in his hand. He introduces us to his wife and kid, and look, I don't want to be a dick, but there's no way this son of a bitch is surviving longer than a week. We also get put to work to earn our keep. My job is to chop some 2x4 for the fence Hershel's son is making, and apparently Lee has never heard of the phrase measure twice, cut once. He just goes hell for leather into this board, and after cutting precisely one board, Lee decides he's worked hard enough and goes for a smoke break. But he runs into Hershel, who's being his usual twatty self. He accuses Lee of lying about his leg injury, and frankly I don't like being accused of lying. Lee shall get his revenge. But we then both hear a scream coming from outside, and while Hershel goes to get his gun, Lee rushes to the scene. A walker is attacking Sean, who's now trapped under the tractor because Duck has been dicking about. Oh aye, and Duck is on the verge of getting eaten as well, so it seems Lee has a decision to make. Does he go with the adult or the young boy? Well, surely the adult can defend himself, so he decides to save the child, and that ends up being pretty bad news for Sean. Hershel's got hold of his shotgun, but it's definitely too little too late. Can we get an RIP for Sean in the comment section? Hershel then loses his fucking mind, and he's like, calm down bud, it's not our fault your son was too fucking stupid to get from under a tractor. He tells us to get the hell off his farm, so we leave with Kenny and his family. We head to Macon, where unfortunately the pickup breaks down. Thankfully we're safe enough to stretch our legs for 5. Duck notices some movement down the street, and Kenny's like, hey, how's it going boys?
Don't call to anything that looks like it's on his knees eating something during an apocalypse. Survivor of the fittest.
Rather predictably, the group gets surrounded by the undead, and it looks like me saving Duck earlier only put off the inevitable. Nah, just kidding, this kid has plot armor thicker than a Kardashian. We get saved by our lady packing heat, and we all rush inside the local pharmacy. Although the leader woman isn't happy, Gun Woman decided to save a family with 2 kids and a random criminal. Although nobody knows that Lee's a criminal just yet. This pharmacy was actually owned by Lee's parents, but for now he decides to keep that quiet. Clem has also decided now would be a great time to have a piss, and I accidentally pressed the wrong button.
Then just go!
Just go, just piss yourself, it's fine.
The old miserable bastard reckons Duck was bit and threatens to throw him out to the walkers. Kenny's obviously gonna stand up for his family.
You gotta throw him out, or smash his head.
It's a child, mate. Jesus, at least let him wait for him to, like, get a fever or something.
Lee's a loyal lad, so backs up Kenny, and they both threaten to kick the old fucker's ass.
Let's go fucking mental. Da 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 da.
With a bit of encouragement from Lee, Kenny smacks the old dude but gets sparked out in the process. And after my terrible parenting earlier, Clem has decided to use the bathroom, but obviously a walker is hiding out there. Lee rushes to save Clementine, but when the walker comes after him, Lee then needs to be saved by Gun Lady. The walkers outside obviously hear the gunshot and try to bring down the walls. Thankfully, gunshots can be heard in the distance, and that seems to draw the walkers off us for the time being. Old fucker then starts bitching again, that is, until he collapses, clutching his chest.
Oh, he's having a heart attack.
Lee takes this opportunity to be like, was he the one that was bitten? Unfortunately, that wasn't the case, and he's just got a bit of a dicky heart. He needs some nitroglycerin pills from the pharmacy, and I thought the only use for nitroglycerin was explosives. Lee reluctantly agrees to help out, but first wanders around the shop looking for chocolate. Lee goes into the back room to try and find his way into the drug storage. Unfortunately, he finds a bloody mattress next to a photo of his family. Unfortunately, it doesn't take a genius to work out exactly what happened here. Glenn has gone off scouting a nearby motel, but unfortunately has become trapped. So me and Gun Lady, whose real name is Carly, go to help him out. But if we're being honest, Glenn was barely stuck at all. He was just chilling in an ice chest. But unfortunately, we can't leave yet, as there's a survivor that needs our assistance. Using a screwdriver I found in a car, I take out a walker or 2, then collect a fire axe. Then I can use the fire axe to take out the 2 that are threatening the stranger. Although it's fair to say she's really not too happy about it. It turns out she's been bit and wants to use our gun to put herself out of her misery. Lee's like, not a fucking chance that's happening, but so she has a little scrap with Carly over the gun, and the platform we're all stood on collapses beneath us. And you'd never guess who picks up the gun. Lee then does his best to talk down the dying woman, but that's only ever gonna go one way. Well, I certainly hope Lee doesn't decide to become a therapist when the apocalypse blows over. Walkers heard the gunshot and make their approach, so we get the fuck out of there.
Wait, hang on a second.
Glenn had a bloody car this whole time. What a bellend. We get back to the pharmacy with no further issues, and now I definitely need to sort out those pills for Larry. Oh wait, is that another chocolate bar? I obviously give it to Clementine because I'm trying to be a good father figure, then decide to fix a radio up for Carly. Well, that's the problem, you silly bitch, you got the batteries in the wrong way. I give him a quick flip about and the radio starts working. working.
Yeah, look at that. I'm a smart boy.
Now we can listen to the gentle, soothing tones of cool jazz while the undead threaten to rip out our esophaguses. Alright, fine. Now I'll find the pills for the old heart attack victim. Nah, I'm just kidding. Me and Doug sneak outside to have a cheeky look at the situation. And just like you'd expect, there's a big old pile of walkers. Lee notices his brother trapped under a telephone pole opposite, and he almost certainly has the keys on him to get to the drug cupboard. But in order to get to him, we're gonna have to distract a street full of walkers. So in a stroke of genius, what Lee does is pick up a brick and lob it through the window of the TV store opposite. But typically the walkers don't seem to give a shit, so we head back inside. In the back office, I find a TV remote and head back outside. Doug uses it to turn all of the TVs on in the store opposite, and that draws all of the shambling corpses over to one location. And I'm telling you now, it's a bloody shame I haven't got a molly on me, as that would make one very pretty little fireball. But with them all distracted, Lee can now make his way across the street to collect the keys off his brother's corpse. But first he has to have an emotional 5 minutes with the reanimated stiff. Take your time, Lee, not as if you're out in the open with a dozen or so walkers around you, but for some reason Lee tries to take him out with repeated blows to the neck instead of a single clean blow to the skull. Dude must have really hated his brother. We find the keys and leg it back across the street before the walkers can get to me. I let Lily know we can get the pills she needs, but when we walk in, an alarm sounds and we've got to move fast. A horde of walkers are now trying to get through the front door of the pharmacy.
Yep, they're all going for the drugstore. That's the thing. They're all a bunch of crackheads.
Everyone starts to panic as we gather our things and move into the back room to fortify our position. Lee holds the door with Doug and Carly, and Doug's like, just thought I'd let you know, Lee, but I think you're a pretty cool guy.
Thanks, Doug.
The walkers then knock down one of the barricades, and if we did need to get out of here before, we really bloody need to now. Lee asks Clementine to look for something long to stick between the door handles, and she brings back Lee's father's walking stick. Lee seals up the door, but both Doug and Carly are in desperate need of our help. Being the lateral thinker I am, I assess the situation.
She's got a gun and she's useful. So we're gonna save Doug.
Lee pulls Doug from the claws of the undead, but Carly unfortunately goes down. Oh wait, hang on, no, she's gonna be alright. Oh, no. No, she's definitely not alright. We all escape to the back office. Well, at least we would, but Larry decides Lee is no longer welcome as part of the group.
You bastard!
Thankfully, Kenny comes back at the ideal time to save my ass. We manage to escape, but Larry is now on my list. He better sleep with one eye open, the old prick. We all regroup at the motel from earlier, and after a quick chat with Glenn, he decides to move on to Atlanta to try and find his family. Go forth and fly, my friend. A man in a tank needs your assistance. I can then confront Larry, who seems like he's trying to pimp out his daughter. Lee's like, she's not too bad, but she's not got enough of an ass for me. That's when Larry drops the bombshell that he knows Lee is a convicted murderer. Bomb, 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 bomb. They have a quick dick measuring contest before going their separate ways. Then Lee and the gang agree to set up base in the motel until the army roll through. The episode then ends with the power going out.
Oh, great. The power's got out.